Hello and welcome to Cold Crit. I nearly said the old name. Like, wait, no.
In my head, you said the old name too. You saved us.
The ratio of
and then
number,
you just wiped all that out by taking us back to the old name.
I know.
Which will not be spoken.
No.
This is Cold Crit.
This is Cold Crit. I'm Chris.
I'm Simon.
I nearly said I was Simon.
Your old name.
I know. I don't know what's happening to me. Actually,
we're having a Freaky Friday situation here.
Yeah. We got into a big fight yesterday, and both at the exact same time said, you don't know what it's like to be me. And then a lightning bolt struck, and then we switched bodies. And it's been really confusing for our cat. Like, she knows something's off.
I've never actually seen Freaky Friday.
And that's good.
In my head, it was they ran really fast at each other and slammed into each other, and then they switched bodies. And but yours sounds like a better movie. I think
that's what they try to do in Community to make it to make like a freaky
in the show Community.
Yeah, in the TV show Community, like Troy and Abed are trying to Freaky Friday themselves, so they keep doing that.
Yeah, maybe all that happens if you do that is you just switch clothes by accident or something. Yeah,
I think that
they just swap
try
your
that.
bodies. Yeah. Like when we're wearing the same clothes, but like a red shirt and blue pants versus a blue shirt and red pants. You run really fast at each other, and then one person's wearing all red and one person's wearing all blue. What are we talking about today?
I don't remember. Anyway, well, we've got a little bit of...
Is it a treat?
It's a treat.
It's not really a treet.
It's live coverage of Expo.
It's not live either. If it were live, it'd be a treat.
Yeah, we're reporting on the ground from Expo Chicago.
From the Jimmy Buffett Margaritaville.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll get into it in the recording, but we have a bit of a recording we did for you when it went to the Freeze Expo Chicago Art Fair at the end of last month. And have a listen. We'll be back. We have more to talk about besides an art fair in Chicago a month ago. So listen through it. We'll be back in like 20 minutes.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, we're doing great.
Okay, are we?
We're doing great.
Okay.
We are at Navy Pier, Chicago.
Reporting live.
We're not live. It's not a live show.
He keeps telling me that, but we are live out.
Chris,
we're alive.
We're live. The entire world is hearing us.
We are live.
In real time.
Yeah. On the ground.
Yeah. What are we doing here?
We are drinking frozen margaritas from the Margaritaville window. There's a helicopter overhead.
What's a Margaritaville?
A Margaritaville is Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville.
Oh, yeah. Yes, it is. Yeah.
And Navy Pier, because we just went to Expo Chicago.
Expo Chicago. Chicago's very own art fair.
Mm-hmm.
The second art fair you and I have ever been to, I think.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah? Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But first, let's set the scene. Navy Pier.
It's a cold day. Frigid.
It's a cold day. We are outside because we got to Margaritaville, and there were two factors that made us not want to actually sit inside there and record this. One was that even though I've walked by the Margaritaville a ton, I'd never really looked inside before, and it was so much sadder inside.
It is kind of like sad in there.
Possibly imagined. Yeah. It was just depressing and dirty. I don't know. They've really let themselves go since Jimmy passed.
I know. He's not there to keep them in line.
And the other factor is that they're playing Jimmy Buffett's various copyrighted music. So
it's not like he's alive to defend his copyright.
Someone is. His lawyers are. His estate.
That's true.
His next of kin.
Yes.
So we are up some stairs by the carousel and the Ferris wheel at Navy Pier.
Yeah.
Drinking margaritas on a day where it's about 48 degrees out.
It is so cold.
It's really
we
cold.
Are bundled up, but I had a vision of what this would look like in my mind, and I wanted to go for it.
What was your vision? And is this close to it at all?
This is pretty close.
Yeah.
Except I was imagining I'd be warmer.
Well, yep. It's Chicago in late April, so that means
it's winter.
It's still winter. Yeah.
So how did you like your first visit to Expo Chicago, Simon?
The way I would reflect on it is that I know I'm not the target audience for art fairs. I am not a collector. That's who this is for.
Yeah.
I'm not a gallery.
Nope.
That's who this is for.
Yeah.
I am not a rich lady walking around with her bestie with the same tight pulled back ponytail, taking so-called candid Instagram photos of each other in front of sculptures. So yeah, I don't think I'm the target audience, but I found stuff I liked here. Out of the 2 art fairs I've been to, this one is the best.
This one is way better than when we went to Zonamaco in Mexico City. And I mean, really, part of it, there's a big like Korean delegation here.
South Korean galleries?
Yeah, there's a ton of them. And I just feel like a lot of the best stuff is coming out of there right now.
Yeah, that was... I don't want to call it the South Korean corner. It sounds too diminutive.
They
but
were spread throughout.
Yeah, they were. But we went to the bar that was in that back corner.
Yeah.
On the east side. I have no sense of direction.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. But that's where all the South Korean galleries were. And there was good stuff there.
Yeah.
What were some of your highlights from that area?
Oh, hold on. I got to fill out my notes. You know, I felt like pointillism was really having a moment, and I really appreciated that. I think especially because I went to the Art Institute pretty recently where they have like the famous Seurat. That's Seurat, right? The famous Seurat pointillist.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Let me just double check that I'm not being an idiot. Yeah, Seurat.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's in Ferris Bueller.
When you think of pointillism.
Yeah, it's the quintessential... give me the name.
Painting? Painting what?
Hold on, it's
the quintessential what?
Sunday. It's the quintessential like pointillist piece. A Sunday on Le Grand Yahet is.
What? I'm not going to pronounce it.
Yeah.
Oh.
You don't even try.
A Sunday on Le Grand Jeté.
Jeté. See, it's just that I study Spanish, and then French is like, no, it is a J, and I'm like, I can't.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really hard for everyone in Spain and France, even though they share a border.
Yeah.
They can't agree on those J's.
Yeah. No, yeah. So there was a lot to like. I feel like the thing about art fairs is often, unlike what we see in movies like Velvet Buzzsaw, there just isn't like a ton of weird stuff. There's no like homeless robots who murder people. There was, however, a large like glass mirrored cube thing that I told you should go stick your arm in.
And I said, fuck no. You think I'm stupid?
So, you know.
Unrelated, Chris just took out a life insurance policy against me.
Yeah.
On me? Do you take out a life insurance policy against someone?
I mean, I kind of feel like it's against.
It sounds really adversarial
like,
that way.
Just in the whole way insurance works. Like insurance is essentially you're gambling against yourself.
Yeah. And your inability to keep yourself from putting your arm into glass holes, glass cubes and spheres at art fairs. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Listen to our Velvet Buzzsaw episode.
Like you do have to listen to that one.
If you have to start somewhere with our show, I feel like every reference we do has some connection back to that episode.
We do a lot of references to that particular episode because it is full of art world references itself. Yeah, I mean, I felt like there were plenty of pieces in there that looked like they could belong to John Don's gallery. John Don's gallery.
I saw a lot of John Don's in person too. A lot of people who were dressed
definitely a lot of little scarves
with
we should warn them about wearing those little scarves though. They might get hanged
by their scarves.
I know.
Hoisted by their own
batards.
Yeah, if we keep referencing Velvet Buzzsaw, I feel like we're gonna have to do a remastered release because it was a very early episode for us.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I feel like it's perfect.
Yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with it whatsoever.
Beautiful. Yeah. I did like though that this art fair had like a program called In Situ that did it does like more experimental installation work.
Yeah.
And focuses on like technology and things like that. So definitely a lot more of that than I am used to seeing though. And you know, There was some political work, but so far I haven't seen that much of it. And we only made it through like half the fair today.
Yeah, there's a whole other day.
Maybe a
this
whole
is day
other
3,
fair
our
is
first
the-
day, but yeah, maybe the whole rest of it is just. Well, right now it feels like okay, look, we did it. We had a political piece in the middle, and it said there are politics is pretty much what it said.
Politics are happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess for the time we're in, it's just like it's interesting that there is so little political engagement in the gallery space right now. And I know that there is a certain like people do feel kind of burned out, and I get it. And like my own like artistic practice has moved away from like political and social work and into just like creating for joy and pleasure. So like
I mean that can be political.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know, like it is I can't help but feel though that, you know, for every person like me who moves away from making political work, there's people who move towards it for very similar reasons. And I would like to see that a little bit more represented, because even if I'm not as interested in making it anymore, I'm still interested in seeing it.
Well, I think why it's interesting to see that in an art fair is that this is expressly commercial. I mean, at least 90%.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why the whole in situ thing they have, where as I understand it, there are artists who are represented or at least connected to the galleries who have booths here who are here for the collectors, here for the scene, here for the commercial side of it a bit more.
Yeah.
But they're also showing work that isn't necessarily a part of that.
Right.
And that's not something you see, as I imagine, at every art fair. Though we have not been to Art Basel Miami. This is our dry run for it.
This is pretty much us doing a rehearsal, a dress rehearsal for Art Basel Miami.
That's why we're drinking margaritas.
Yeah. Do you think there's a Margaritaville at Art Basel Miami?
There has to be. Like, aren't all of Jimmy Buffett's songs about that lifestyle?
Like that area,
Florida.
Florida, the Keys.
Is he even from Florida?
He's probably from like Ohio.
Yeah. Anyway, there was also like one of those installation pieces was a bunch of melodicas attached to little tubes and air pumps. So it's making music.
Yeah.
And that was kind of neat.
Yeah, I like that one. I thought that one was fun. I like the melodica.
Yeah. It's also the first thing you see when you walk in.
Yeah.
Hard to hear in there, but there were little like C-clamps to like keep certain chords pressed.
You really had to get really close and you could barely hear the melodica. So, you know, it's a huge exhibition hall with really high ceilings. So not surprising that you would have trouble hearing it, but yeah, maybe catch it in a smaller, more like appropriate space one day. Champagne is $27
for a glass.
For one glass. Yeah.
It comes in a box.
Which like is fine, but there was no sparkling wine option. I mean, drinks just were expensive as hell. Like I paid $20.
It's Navy Pier,
it's Navy Pier. It's an art fair. So $20 for a old fashioned in a plastic cup.
Some like, you know, middle to upper shelf whiskey. Sorry, the salt in this margarita is making me salivate.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yummy.
Bad for radio. Some like middle upper shelf whiskey just in a plastic cup with a giant plastic squeeze bottle of simple syrup over an Americano cherry.
And the bartender pretty much asking me if like this is how you make it.
Is this what you wanted?
Yeah, I was like, oh, for $20 I do.
Are you happy? Are you
all
happy
whiskey,
you got that?
Honestly. At this point, I feel like that's a safer bet.
Yeah.
I appreciated that this fair had like a kind of a local representation going on beyond the big galleries, like more like project spaces, local institutional galleries and things like that. That was really nice to see.
Yeah.
And yeah, enjoyed perusing through that kind of stuff. I just feel like seeing so much like big texture right now, and I think we're gonna keep seeing that. Like,
this is your trend prediction for
I'm coming live with my trend predictions. I feel like we're moving towards big texture. Like people want to see the artist hand in work these days. They want to see all the little things that make humans make like art.
As opposed to AI stuff. Which,
smooth and so I felt like I did see a ton of that. Still a lot of like smooth glossy stuff, especially coming out of like the LA New York galleries, but like I'm bullish on South Korea right now, so I feel like they're really leading the charge, and I see a lot of hand in that work. I see a lot of interesting like sculptural things happening in that work,
especially in contrast to a Tel Aviv gallery that was there with these hyper photorealistic paintings of young, like, I don't know, model looking women in like IDF uniforms. And like, I was Googling and whatever the cool search term is these days. And nothing about this suggested that it was at all critical. It was just a male artist doing things that AI could do and painting women the way that AI thinks women look.
Yeah, it was really weird. Like, Tel Aviv gallery, these weird, like, almost deviant art-esque portraits. I was just so confused by that whole setup.
I gotta look into this guy. He's been around for a while.
Maybe when we get home and like have some more research time, like can figure out what the fuck is going on here.
And like, I guess someone's still buying. I mean, someone's still repping it, but like, I didn't see a lot of other Tel Aviv representation.
I mean, I only saw, that was the only Israeli gallery I saw. Maybe there are more. I haven't looked at the full list in a second.
But yeah, with what you're saying about the artist's hand, I noticed there's a lot of gloopy paint. Yeah,
gloopy gloppy. Yeah, I really feel like I'm all in on gloopy gloppy this year.
Yeah, like coming off the canvas at you.
Yeah, a lot of, and then like, a lot of built up texture, a lot of giving the canvas like more itself more texture through like layering. I know there are certain like almost like fabrics you can like layer up and then paint over once they harden, they're kind of like almost plastery. I feel like people have been using that more as like an underlayer before they start painting. So yeah, saw a lot of interesting stuff like that.
Yeah, and only one of the booths we saw that had a lot of textured painting had a little sticker above the didactic or the plaque that said "Do not touch" with like icon of a hand just slashed through it.
They should have put a line on the ground,
I know,
then I would have known not to touch it.
I mean, if you come from the other direction, you're going to encounter that last, and then you'll only feel shame, and the damage will be done.
I know. Game over.
Just ran my hand along every painting until I got to this point and saw it.
Yeah. Well, overall I really enjoyed our first day at this art fair. I feel like it was interesting. I feel like nobody talked to me or had any interest in like discussing work or anything with me the first time when we went to Zonamako, and this time it was like gallerists were like, "Oh, what's up?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, okay. No, oh."
They asked you if you made work.
I know. And I biffed it. I should have been like, I was just like, yeah, I make some stuff by. I know. I was like, what is wrong with me? Like after I walked away, like I did not come prepared at all.
I heard her asking that. Like my instinct was run away.
I know.
Yeah, I got asked yesterday, like, and what do you do? I said, I don't know. I work at this place. Do you like it? I don't know. Bye.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know how to say this without like letting you know that I'm not happy. Because if I tell you I'm happy, I just feel conceited.
Yeah.
And you'll think I'm conceited.
Yeah.
Just go to therapy more.
Maybe get on a 2 times a week schedule.
We saw, someone else talked to you. You got talked to about, some of the work you were looking at. A lot of the gallerists and assistants were chatty.
Mm-hmm.
Someone asked us about Margaritaville.
Yes.
That was the longest conversation I've ever had, I think, at any gallery of any kind.
I know.
Because they heard us mentioned, I didn't see this on the menu, Chris, but you said there are key lime pie martinis.
I don't think you can get them at like the Margaritaville to-go window.
Why not?
I don't know.
It's like the same bar.
Yeah, but they had a limited menu for the window.
We could go down there and ask them.
I don't want that.
Yeah. Other work that was cool. There was a long horse.
I did like the long horse.
There was a gallery.
Yeah.
I think it was Art Latino.
Mm-hmm.
Like Latino with a U at the end. I've only read it. I don't know how it's pronounced, but it was a triptych? Like three large diptych?
I think it was a diptych, yeah.
Or like two large panel canvases.
But like the horse had 3 saddles.
Yeah. It was a horse for thruples.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that 3-person hot tub we used that one time where it was like, oh.
Where the 2 of us used, I mean, there were more in the party at this place, but the hot tub was very clearly for 2 or 3 people.
But yeah, there was like a party of 4. So then it was like, I don't know what to do with this information.
Yeah, it's like if you took a grilled cheese sandwich and sliced it diagonally.
But then made it into a hot tub.
2 separate hot tubs. And you only have one of them at this property.
Yeah. Grilled cheese hot tub.
Oh, we saw a dog.
Oh, yeah. There's the dog.
There was...
That was not a service animal. It was wearing little booties.
It was someone with a little dog. They're walking around.
I'm not going to publish this. I feel I cannot continue to... I can't... Even
this
if...
is where you draw the line?
No, even if like I am personally like that is no fucking way that's a service animal. I feel bad like continuing to at all contribute to the cultural conversation about that allows people to judge other people's service animals as like being appropriate or not.
All I'm saying is it better be art.
Yeah. Fair.
Maybe it was art.
Yeah.
There's no discussion to be had here because it was, unless it's one about art.
Yeah.
About a shitty little dog wearing booties.
Yeah. I'm freezing, so I think it's time to go.
But you haven't finished your frozen margarita yet.
We're going to take them inside to finish them.
Okay, yeah. All right. Well, you won't hear from us in there because the music is copyrighted.
It's going to be way too loud.
It's just for us.
But it is going to be heated, so I'm taking my microphone and going inside.
All right. So we'll talk to you after we enjoy the smooth sounds of Jimmy Buffett.
Signing off live.
We're not live.
And we have since then finished our margaritas, and it is no longer 48 degrees.
No, we're actually in Portland, Oregon right now, and it's sunny. I think maybe it's going to get up to 80 today, so we're actually experiencing some summer or like springtime weather.
Yeah, and ironically, we have no margaritas.
No, we should get some, though. That would be a good thing to do.
But we've already taken one break in this recording, so that'll be for later.
Yes. So it's our second Open Studios episode.
What have you been up to, Chris?
Well,
what's open for the world to see in your studio?
Together, we went to New York.
That's true.
Yeah.
They have a lot of art there.
Yeah, so we went to New York, and I don't know, I feel like every time I go to that city, I'm just more and more in love with it. And this time, I finally went to the Met for the first time. Like, I had never actually been. And you met me there, but you had to...
Yeah, I met you at the Met. It was a Friday evening. I had just gotten off work.
Yeah.
It was packed.
It was so busy. I mean, I know that, like, COVID made... museums definitely took a hit on COVID and like have had trouble recovering their like attendance and stuff post COVID. But like, man, it is really hard to like understand the perspective anybody has that like the art museums are a dying institution and stuff. Like when you go on a Friday night and it's just like so packed and
And it's not just tourists because I didn't realize you could buy your tickets online until I was halfway through the line.
Yeah.
But that line was just there for people who are local residents who can get there, like pay what you want tickets to go in on, I think, Fridays and whatever other day of the week it is. So there are a lot of people there from New York. And I'm like, okay, you guys can come all the time and you still come here.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's so easy to forget about what's in your own town. I try not to when we're in Chicago to like actually go to things, but honestly, I am really only good at regularly going to the Museum of Contemporary Art and the Art Institute. I'm terrible about going to galleries because there's no direct bus there.
I know. If you want to go anywhere in Chicago, it's got to go through the Loop.
Yeah.
You go to the Loop where the MCA and the Art Institute are. Everything else, you make a transfer, you go west. or south or something.
I know, and that's where all the galleries are in relation to us. So we should really move, I guess.
Again.
I barely saw any of the Met. I did not expect it to be as gigantic as it was. But fun little throwback. We got to see the Jesse Crimes exhibition, which we talked about in our Justin Timberlake episode.
Want to refresh us on what that is?
Yeah,
who Jesse Crimes is?
Jesse Crimes is an artist who actually got his start in prison, so very aptly named. It's like that one thing where that like people who are named like people's names, like there's a higher correspondence of them becoming the thing that like reflects their names, like people who are
Jesse
Crimes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesse historically has been an American criminal name, right?
That's true. Jesse James, Jesse from Breaking Bad, Jesse.
Wait, there's more than one Jesse James.
Isn't Jesse James also like a porn actor? No, that's
There's a motorcycle guy.
That's James Franco. No, James. Who's James Franco like?
What?
I don't know. James Dean.
That is also a Hollywood actor.
Yeah, there's a porn star named James Dean. That's what I was trying to remember.
And there's like a motorcycle dude who was on a reality show.
Oh.
Named Jesse James.
Okay. None of this matters.
Crimes. You're talking about Crimes.
Anyway, Crimes. Jesse Crimes served.
Is that his real name?
I don't know, I guess.
It's probably not his real name.
Yeah. Smart on him, like if he did change it. But yeah, he served, I think, like 5 or 6 years in prison for a non-violent drug offense. And he was making art while he was in prison and in solitary. And so he would smuggle out his art little by little in the forms of bars of soap and bed sheets and things like that. And so we got to see his exhibition Corrections at the Met. And yeah, it was really lovely to see in person.
Yeah, it was a lot of playing cards with art on them.
Yeah.
Some of the soap. There are a lot of images of like 19th century like proto mugshots and things like that. Yeah,
part of the reason we talked about it in the Timberlake episode was because he was kind of experimenting with the idea of like the mugshot as an like image. So he would take kind of like little pieces, like images from newspapers, and transfer them to these like bars of soap, using probably just water as a medium, I imagine. And then he would, and so you would get this kind of like transferred image of like a headshot of somebody that it really does an interesting job of evoking the like posture and like viewpoint of a mugshot. And so that's why we had talked about it in that Justin Timberlake episode.
One of the daguerreotypes or whatever it was, like 19th century photo, there's a big wall that was all these photos of arrested criminals or something from 100 years ago plus. One of them looked like my dad.
Yeah. Also a really disturbing number of children.
Oh yeah,
very weird.
I mean, if you can make children work, you can arrest them.
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess
that's the American way. And on that same floor, there was like right around the corner, there was the super fine tailoring black style exhibition, which for anybody who's up on the Met Gala, I was particularly obsessed this year, watched it live.
Particularly obsessed?
Was particularly obsessed. That's a callback to our...
Yeah, Morph approved. Morph approved.
Yeah.
Callback to Velvet Buzzsaw.
Yeah, Velvet Buzzsaw episode. But the every year the Met Gala, which for anybody who doesn't know, it's a big fundraising event for the Costume Institute in the Met. So they preserve movie, film, like theater costumes and other forms of like just interesting or exceptional clothing and couture. And so every year they are entirely self-funded, and I think if not 100%, like somewhere between 90 and 100% of their funding every year comes from the Met Gala. And over, I think the past like 10, 20 years, it's become this sort of interesting, like beyond red carpet event. Like we all know, the Emmys, the Oscars as being red carpet events, and people dress up in like pretty gowns and stuff. But the Met, people don't just go for clothing as like pretty, they go for it as art, and there's always a dress code. And so since this year the Costume Institute's exhibition was super fine tailoring Black style, the I can't remember exactly what the wording on the invitation was, but it was like it was tailored for you. So the idea was go with something like very finely tailored.
Nothing off the rack.
Yeah, no.
JCPenney
well,
was
it's
not
never
happy.
off the rack because
it's the Met.
Yeah, it's the
Met Gala. Yeah,
and like how it works though is with the funding, the celebrities by and large are never paying for their own tickets. The people who pay for the ticket are the design houses like Louis Vuitton and stuff. They buy a table. They invite the celebrities they want to dress. And then those celebrities walk in this case this year, a blue floral carpet for them. And yeah, it's a whole thing, but I love my background is in fashion design. That's what I majored in college.
So JCPenney does not have a table?
No, they do not. No. And neither does TJ Maxx.
Mervyn's, though.
Yes.
All the 90s moms at one table.
Oh, hell yeah. But yeah, I was so disappointed. And this happened to me multiple times in New York when we were there. So at the MoMA, I wasn't able to see the Hilma af Klint show because it was the day I went, it was a members only preview. And then at the Met, the Superfine tailoring exhibition was also a members only preview the day I was there. So I missed out on seeing two shows I really wanted to see. But I did get to see the Caspar David Friedrich show and was actually blown away with how much I liked it, because at first I was like, landscape painting, who cares?
I see those all the time.
Yeah, I was like, okay, how good could this actually be? But I read a bunch of good articles and reviews of the show, and I was like, I gotta see it. I mean, and also I just want to use this as an opportunity to say, listen to the audio tours when you go to museums. It is like the best way. I'm always amazed at how people just raw dog those galleries. Like, you get so much interesting context. And I mean, of course, maybe you already know everything about that person and you don't feel like you need to be filled in on their background, the contemporaries and stuff like that. But I think that's such a good way to experience art. And I'm always like, man, more people need to be doing these audio tours.
I've not done a lot of those. Been doing the raw dogging you've been talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Not because I think I know anything else. It's just that I don't know what I'm looking for ever, and I'm trying to get through it. But one I really appreciated was the Rijksmuseum in Amsterdam doing you have an hour?
It was like a 1 hour highlights
tour. Yeah, you can
see
the highlights of the Rijksmuseum.
Yeah.
We need more speed running audio tours. Like, I'm
Honestly.
going to go to this museum, get everything good in like 30 minutes, an hour, whatever you have.
However long it's going to be until like your dad starts getting the royal your dad.
My royal father.
Yeah,
okay.
My royal father starts getting cranky and needs to go eat or something.
I mean,
or back to the hotel.
I'm not a dad, but I am that dad.
I mean, yeah, me too. I really I've got an hour in me tops until I'm like, I gotta sit down.
And museum cafes really need, I don't know. That's one thing I like about the Met so much. And this also speaks to the art fair we went to, but cocktails, snacks, museum cafes, pretty lacking, y'all. Like,
yeah.
I don't want to see a plastic bottle of
No.
simple syrup in my $20 cocktail, which I know I'll pay anyway, but
Yeah. They got me.
You can try a little more.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I appreciate the Art Institute. Like, I feel like their members cafe really goes the extra mile. But maybe I just like it because it's free.
Yeah, and exclusive.
Yeah.
And it does feel like you're in like a school auditorium that's been cleared out like after prom or something.
Yeah. I think my number one tip for anybody who, like, if you want to feel like a VIP and rich, like, whether it's the Art Institute or if like your museum has something like this, like in your city, get the membership that gives you like access to the members lounge. It's not that much a year. And like, if you can afford it, like it makes you feel so cool.
I mean, it's not quite like the members lounge at airports, but it is easier and cheaper.
It is. Yeah. If you can't shell out the credit card fee.
You can get free coffee at the Chicago AI one.
Free coffee, nice views, some exclusive pieces are up there.
Away from all the shufflers.
All the riffraff, yeah. And yeah, I mean, I started using it for a co-working space. Like I would go with...
Don't tell them.
Okay. No. All the AI like art school kids already figured it out. Yeah. So,
wait, they allow them in there?
Yeah, of course.
How do we define riffraff if not college students?
I know.
If not students at exclusive private art schools.
Oh, they're well behaved, I think. But yeah, they I don't know. I just got nothing.
All right. Well, you also went to MoMA. I did not go with you when we were in New York. No. I went to MoMA because I was working.
Yeah, that was where I missed out on the Helma. No. But, it was pop art galore. And oh yeah, Warhol everywhere. Oh my God.
I've heard that guy's pretty prolific.
Yeah, I'd say. Of course, they like really only had actually they had a lot of the soup cans. So I was like,
I mean, the thing about those is they can expand infinitely.
Yeah, I know.
How big is your wall? We got soup cans to cover it.
You just keep going. So
wait, really, they were showing the soup cans?
Yeah, they've been showing. I don't think they've changed that. But
it's out it's these soup cans.
Yeah, okay, I don't think they've changed that display out for a really long time. They're not like,
okay, everyone does the soup cans. Yeah. We can do some other Warhol deep cuts.
It's a permanent collection thing. Okay. That's on view like that for years.
Yeah.
I was there for the main reason I went though is for the Woven Histories Textiles and Modern Abstraction show. So there was just it was so good. And like, I mean, that is why I'm just like, shit, we gotta move to New York. Like everything I saw was so good. And I didn't even see like half of what I wanted to in New York. There was Freeze New York going on, which I thought about going to. And then I learned that just regular ass tickets were like $120. And I was like, no.
You got to get Mervin's to buy you a ticket.
Yeah, I know. It was so bad. I think it was Listen was having a Carmen Herrera exhibition that I really wanted to go to. And we talked about Carmen Herrera in our Meta Ray-Ban. One of her pieces is in the background. So it would have been fun to see all her work in like one bigger space, like big open space. But
well, if podcasting takes off, maybe we can afford to move to New York.
Yeah.
And buy memberships to every museum members lounge.
Yeah.
Never have to be home again.
Yeah. There we go.
WeWork's going to be pissed.
Just live in the museum like every day. Just go to a different one. But yeah, I mean, it was great. I loved being in New York. We went to the Brooklyn Museum for the 1,000th time and did not bother to actually even see anything but the gift shop.
Oh, we have a friend who works there, so it's it's a good landmark and a place to stash our bags.
Yeah,
and see anything compelling. Yeah. Got to see one of those Kehinde Wiley pieces.
They got a Kehinde Wiley up there still, despite the allegations.
That's not going anywhere.
No, I know. They're very in the entry hall area, so you don't even need a ticket to see that. They're very proud of it. And that gigantic cause that Oh my God.
What a flattering comparison for Kehinde Wiley.
Yeah, right there next to the cause.
Yeah, that 20-foot cause sculpture.
Yeah.
I think we go there every time to see if it's still there. It's going to be there.
I think
long past the time when we're gone.
Didn't they have to engineer the floor for it?
Oh, I don't know.
It's such a heavy sculpture that they had to reinforce the floor under where it was going.
Well, let me just say, for the sake of culture, thank God they did.
Yeah. Can you imagine if the floor just collapsed under the weight of cause, under the weight of American consumerism?
Yep. I mean, yes, I can.
Yeah.
It's kind of thing that happens in Miami, where those places collapse.
Yeah. Yeah. You would think that New York too. Isn't most of that just built on swampy wetland?
Yeah, I don't know. It
landfill?
was formerly New Amsterdam, and New Amsterdam is known for being a city that is sinking a couple inches every year or so.
Well, maybe not Brooklyn. Manhattan.
Brooklyn's fine, yeah.
Manhattan's is oof.
But they have money. They can.
Yeah, they'll figure it out.
They can, crank the jack a few times and get those inches back.
Like Venice.
Yeah, they're doing great too.
Yeah, I don't know. Ate a lot of really amazing food. Just had a great time. What did you do in New York?
I worked. And
yeah, you did.
Yeah. And I had one art experience independent of you, which was I got to participate in this preview of a AI recreation of Rembrandt. And yeah, I can't talk about it too much, preview and everything, but we
got a VIP here.
Yeah. I got compared to an AI animated version of a Rembrandt self-portrait, which I thought was kind of weird and a little reductive. It's the Dutch guy in the room.
Who did the comparison?
A friend of mine.
Oh, okay.
Who was viewing it.
Was he a friend?
He was like, hey, kind of looks like you. And this is when it was bugging out.
I see.
And he just had his eyebrows raised really high, oh, really?
Kind of twitchy.
Yeah, it was using AI animation to make a portrait come to life.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, thanks. I guess I'm kind of flattered than compared to Rembrandt here. And then I took a video of me with it and sent it to my mom, and she said, he kind of has your mannerisms. Okay, this is very flattering if it's Rembrandt. It's really not flattering if the comparison is because it is a glitchy preview AI.
Really could go either way.
So yeah, I'm grappling with that personally.
Well, good luck figuring that out.
Nope, I'm just gonna leave it all messed up and never interrogate it more, and just think you know what? Rembrandt.
Smart. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Real Rembrandt, not the AI Rembrandt.
On the topic of museums, usually we talked about what are we reading? What are we researching? What are we thinking about? I haven't been reading, researching, or thinking about anything because my entire life has been playing 2 Point Museum.
Oh yeah.
Which is there's some games. There's 2 Point Campus and 2 Point
It's a
Hospital.
series of video games. Yeah, okay.
Video games. I was really into 2 Point Campus on the Switch for a while, and then they came out with 2 Point Museum, and I was like, well, I know what I'm doing for the next 6 months.
What do you do in these games?
So in 2 Point Museum, you curate and run. It's like a curation and running a museum, and various museums are different levels. And I'm like, oh, this sounds right up my alley. And it is, but I am so upset that there's not an art museum.
What kind of museum
level.
is there? It's natural history.
Yeah, they have natural history, aquarium.
I've seen you playing it, and I've always taken note that you seem to be in this cartoon interface, sending people out to go raid tombs and cultural artifacts from former colonies.
I'm pretty much the British Museum. Yeah.
But it's cute.
Yeah, it's super cute. There's a science museum, there's a space museum, and there's a haunted mansion kind of museum, a spooky curio museum.
Oh yeah, that's way more common than an art museum.
I know, right? Yeah, I'm like, how could you not do an art museum?
Maybe it'll be in the DLC.
Maybe, but I'm gonna have to pay for that. And I wanted to include it in a regular.
The game you paid $30 for and have spent hundreds of hours on already.
Sucks. Yeah, I'm afraid to look at how much I've played that game. It's been a lot. And as a result, I went from reading like a book a week to I haven't read a book in 1 month.
But you know a lot about raiding artifacts from former colonies.
I really
now.
don't, because that kind of all happens off screen.
Oh yeah, it's in the background. They've sanitized it.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to like.
Every now and then you seem to lose one of your explorer people to injury, right?
Well, it's.
Do they die?
They go MIA, but like it's kind of like they died.
They died, yeah.
They just don't want to say they died. There's also this really like fucked up part where so in order to gain like experience in the game to upgrade your different exhibitions, you have to put like objects into this analyzer thing and it destroys the object, which is like, okay, I'll make that sacrifice on an object. But then when you get to the aquarium and like the mansion, like haunted mansion, the ghosts, when you put them in there, they die. And it's like, that doesn't feel right.
I think it's because you cross the streams.
Yeah. What?
That's a Ghostbusters reference. Never mind.
Okay. Yeah. I thought it was about peeing.
Yeah, that's the joke.
Oh,
in
is
Ghostbusters.
It? I don't not seen Ghostbusters. It's too late for me. People tell me I should. I won't.
So you exploded some fish.
Yeah, and some goat like
culture.
Souls. It's so weird. Anyway, I love the game. I'm never gonna stop playing. Actually, to detox on our Portland trip, which is gonna be a total of about 3.5 weeks by the time we get back to Chicago.
Yeah, if we sound different, it's because we're recording in Portland.
Yeah, in our little house with way less stuff and in a tiny house. So I didn't bring the game or any gaming stuff because I was like, I need a detox. And
you've destroyed enough souls.
Yeah, it's been a lot. I gotta stop. So I have been reading again, and just I gotta ease back into it. So I'm reading like supermarket fiction, like trade paperbacks. Yeah, what else have you been up to, Simon?
I have been researching a bit for our next episode, but it's really just the ongoing shitstorm of the NEA cuts, which it's terrible, but it is the easiest research I've done because I can just look at my email inbox and see like every arts org that I follow is just, yep, we no longer have this exhibition or we don't have this, or please give us a donation because it's gone. And we're going to see these effects soon. I mean, we're
really
looking
depressing.
at like a bunch of shows planned for the summer in various places already gone.
Yep.
But we might get into that a bit more in some future episodes. But that's my research. And then something a little more, I guess, fun, but I can't really talk about it, unfortunately, because I've not asked for permission. Didn't seem appropriate. But without giving too much detail, I met someone recently who has the job of being essentially an art steward for a multimillionaire's private collection.
So funny.
And this job sounds so wild. Like,
yeah,
part of it, they just like ride in trucks. Like when this art has to travel across the country, when it's like, okay, yeah, get a tax break for showing your art once a year or whatever, however much it is. That art's got to travel somewhere, and they don't just leave it to the transportation company. Yeah, the truckers, they like
just drop it off at the.
They send a full-time employee with them, and they just ride with the art and with the person driving it across the country.
So funny.
Yeah, to make sure not just that it gets there, but also that the people installing it don't fuck it up.
I want that job. That would be so weird. What do you talk about?
I don't know.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
I mean, we have an art podcast, but this person should really have an art podcast, like Stories from the Road.
I know. I want to interview them. I have so many questions. So, I mean, I met them, but I didn't really talk to them at all because I had other things to do. I feel like I don't want to like give away too much for like the sake of their privacy.
Yeah, we're good here.
Yeah. We don't need to get into details. I just had better things to do than socializing at the social event.
She was playing 2 Point Museum.
I was on my game dude in the other room. Yeah, well, I got some updates.
Let's hear them.
Okay, so episode 14, our Meta Ray-Ban episode, the Chris's, the Super Bowl ad episode.
A glut of Chris's, too many Chris's in a couple of bad commercials about art.
Yeah.
And AR, no, not AR. Yeah, AR. Mixed reality, augmented reality. The
I don't
Meta
know.
glasses.
Yeah.
Anyway, that episode,
I don't even know if they do that. Maybe they do.
Oh, right, they don't. They just
they just tell you
glasses
stuff
where
you can take pictures.
You can look through them.
Yeah.
And also Meta Facebook can also look through them.
Yeah.
And tell you what Meta Facebook is seeing.
Yeah.
And that's somehow a good deal for you, consumer who paid for these expensive glasses. That. You benefit somehow.
Yeah. I did hear somebody say that an interesting use case for them is like any time a collection doesn't want you to like take pictures or something, or if it's a no pictures allowed kind of thing, you could like very subtly take a picture with your Meta glasses.
Isn't that what the commercial is?
No, but they're allowed to be in there. They're
right, but that's what they're permission or otherwise. That's what they're doing with it.
I don't know.
You don't
Maybe.
know? Okay.
I heard this about a conversation that was happening about this private collection in New York that just went on display again that I did not see because of course I didn't. So it's the Frick collection in New York. They just reopened after a long time. Big, huge private collection. And they don't allow pictures, in contrast to most museums that do. And so people were like, oh, I got to get some of those Meta Ray-Ban glasses so I can take some pictures.
So you bring in your spy glasses?
Yeah.
Where do you draw the line, Chris? Like you bring in your secret cameras to take photos of people. That's how I learned that this person was wearing them when I met someone wearing them. Well, no.
Yeah.
I noticed them and it's like, oh yeah, check it out, and took a photo.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean.
It's like body cams for everyone who isn't a cop.
Yeah.
And who can afford Meta Ray-Bans and chooses to wear them.
I can't decide what I think about it, actually, because on one hand, I'm like, I don't know. You don't keep that stuff. I also do like the idea of instead of having to pull out a phone every time I want to take a picture, just look at it and click. On the other hand, at a certain point, where do we draw the line on just like having zero friction in our lives?
Yeah, I don't know. Have you noticed that Chris only wears big Ray-Ban glasses when she goes to art museums?
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw her outside the museum. She wasn't wearing those glasses.
Wasn't even
Something
wearing
is up
them.
here. Something's
Yeah.
fishy.
I'm like on a do not allow to enter in a book with.
Break her glasses and then see if she wants to go in.
Yeah, she won't.
Nerd.
Nah, I am never getting them. Don't worry.
Okay, thank you.
Don't worry about it.
I'm imagining you in an art museum with like the cartoon version of one, like a nerd character breaks their glasses and they have the big tape in the middle,
Yeah.
but it's the Meta Ray-Bans.
I wonder if they would even work if you broke them like that.
I don't know. One way to find out.
Yeah, we're gonna go break some nerds' glasses.
Anyone wearing like Ira Glass, you better watch out. Anyone wearing like those Elvis Costello style, like thick rimmed plastic frames, Chris is gonna walk around punching him in the face.
I don't know how I became the aggressor here. But do you think that like the law enforcement's gonna start getting in on that too?
They're gonna be wearing them.
Yeah, which will make them really easy to spot.
They're the people who really don't want to wear cameras.
Well,
but we want them to wear cameras.
Well, when they're investigating, they do. Like when I was at an animal rights conference one time and the guy showed up with like a
10-gallon hat and a
milk duds in his pocket.
Oh, yeah, that's real.
Yeah.
It was the 10-gallon hat.
It was real. Yeah.
Thing, but like.
The hat didn't have the camera. It was the
Wait,
milk.
he was wearing a hat?
I don't.
You make it sound like he was wearing a 10-gallon hat.
He was.
I'm sorry. I'm
you
distracting
just
us.
always no.
Because it sounds like
he was
the
wearing
like, Tex
a hat,
Avery thing of a guy wearing a 10-gallon hat with a video camera in it.
He was not. The camera was in the box of milk duds in his like front lapel pocket. Sorry. The camera was in his front pocket.
His breast pocket.
His breast pocket.
And you spent a lot of time talking about how much you love all this fashion work and textile stuff, and you're mixing up what the pockets are.
Well, there is no such thing as a lapel pocket.
I know.
Could be. That would be kind of funny.
Oh la la! Someone went to fashion school.
Put a quarter in it or something. But like, yeah, it was just such a choice because the guy Milk Duds at an animal rights conference where like everyone is vegan.
Yes, but also in your breast pocket, like vegan or no, if you walk down the street and saw anyone wearing like anyone with Milk Duds sticking out of their breast pocket, like you don't put things in breast pockets. Maybe pens.
Yeah.
But Milk Duds. If you saw someone wearing that, you'd be like, "What's up with the Milk Duds, freak?"
What is going on? Yeah, I know. Like
wait.
The thing
so
is,
how did this come out at this thing? I need to know more about the story.
Well, like we saw him. Everybody saw him because it was really obvious.
Did they make him empty out the box and eat whatever was in front of them?
Hey, can I have a Milk Dud?
Just like commits to the bit and just eats his little camera straight faced.
Just, oh God, ow. That would be great. No, I think like nobody made him leave or anything, but yeah, it was weird because they only show up for when they're like known, like animal rights, like folks who have like been to prison or under investigation or in jail for like their talks and stuff, which, you know, at these kinds of things, those sessions do happen. So, he showed up for one of those and everybody was like, all right. But since nobody was talking about anything illegal or weird, they were just like, whatever.
When I went to the Pacifica Forum when I was in college.
Why'd you go there? For fun?
Yeah, for fun.
Because you liked it?
Personal interest.
Yeah.
You know, just, want to see if anything I missed the first time after the first time I read Mein Kampf.
Yeah.
No, it was there was a professor emeritus, ancient professor emeritus at the school I went to.
They tend to be.
Yeah. Who would put on this like, let's celebrate free speech. And this is, the 2000s. So they would just bring these prominent, not like current era neo-Nazis, but like the ones with weird long facial hair who were just blogging all the time before there was like an alt-right to speak of.
Weirdly into like Norse
mythology
and heritage.
Like the real like, let's go into the eugenics part of this, but like not the pop eugenics, okay?
Yeah, okay.
And they would come and speak at this little hall that the guy rented out. And of course, most of the crowd was there to just heckle. And I don't know, it was a weird scene, but nobody there had any Milk Duds in their pockets. And that shows you what the FBI's priorities are.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
This is not real evidence. There might have been Milk Duds. It was a long time ago. But
Yeah. Or maybe they were going with a different tactic at the time. Maybe they did have a 10-gallon hat with a...
Oh, yeah, that explains all the 10-gallon hats that I saw. With like a 1980s style VHS camcorder on the top.
I think like from being around those kinds of things, one thing I remember is an activist who had been to prison before just talking about how not subtle or smooth the police are when they're undercover. But like, so that if you know to watch out for it, you can just be like, oh yeah, you're doing it's almost like they'll do things so obvious that you will start thinking you're crazy for thinking that they're cops because you are like, well, why would a cop be so obvious about it? But he would talk about like, oh, I was dating this girl and she was like, oh yeah, all my friends are cops. And he was like, okay.
All right. I was going to ask, is this like an intimidation mind game thing? But no, that just sounds
lazy.
Yeah.
And yeah, she would just, and he would be like, all right, well, a cop wouldn't say that. So, and then
great,
he went
I would
to
love
jail.
to meet them.
Yeah, right.
You should throw a party with all your cop friends.
Yeah. So yeah, something to be on the lookout for, I guess, when you're innocent of all crimes, is Milk Duds and people who talk about all my cop friends.
But if you want to jumpstart your
shoes.
What about the shoes?
What if they're wearing off-whites?
Oh yeah, they're wearing very expensive off-whites.
Yeah, for
also,
the perp walk.
if you ever see them in a perp walk, they're probably a cop.
Absolutely.
Yeah. On the other hand, if you want to jumpstart your art career, maybe go to that party with all the cop friends, because then you can send out bars of soap with art on it. I'm talking about Jesse Crimes.
I know you are.
Yeah.
I just don't understand why.
Well,
it's not like the cops are
going to prison.
Oh, you want to go to prison
I don't want
for
to
your
go to
art
prison,
career.
but
I want to go to prison now.
Yes. but a bonus.
Yeah.
If like you need just something for yourself, it's like, okay, I got to go to prison. Might as well try to get an art career out of this.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Like when people who that kind of trope of I'm going to go to prison, so I'm going to get like really buff and become very well read.
Yeah, but I'm just going to like make a bunch of art.
And then when I get out, I'm going to go to law school.
Exactly.
Because I'll have been the jailhouse lawyer.
Chris is speaking from personal experience here.
Never been, never want to go.
I mean, if give it a year or two, and all artists are going to be sent to prison at some point.
Pretty much,
so,
yeah.
Get in while it's good. That market's going to be saturated soon. So get your prison art established now.
Okay, we started talking about this because I was going to talk about the restoration of the Qing era vases.
What? No, we did. What?
Yeah, the Meta Ray-Ban.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna with the Super Bowl ad. Like in that last episode, you talked about or in the 2 episodes ago.
Oh, we were talking about people who would actually in the Meta Ray-Ban ads, the Chris's accidentally destroy art.
Yeah.
And that's part of the joke, I guess.
You had talked about
people who had actually destroyed art.
Yeah, and you had talked about accident. The guy who accidentally knocked over those Qing era vases.
He tripped down some stairs.
Yeah.
Where those vases were just like on a ledge.
Yeah.
And he knocked them all over.
I feel
and broke a bunch.
It wasn't his fault. But anyway, I found after that episode this immersive essay from the Fitz Museum that was all about how they restored them. They put them back together.
They just pressed rewind on the tape.
Yeah. But like, did some like really high tech restoration and the way they, the whole process. So definitely check that out if you're interested in how you reassemble all thousands of pieces of little vases.
And if you find yourself ever tripping down some stairs at a museum and destroying some priceless historical artifacts, don't worry. If they make a big deal out of it, they're just fucking with you. They can fix it. It'll be okay. They're being babies.
Yeah, big babies. Speaking of big babies, the Bobo Jesus Christ.
Wait.
He was all the paintings where he's a big baby, like a ripped baby.
I know, but like Bobo Jesus Christ.
Oh, yeah. You also talked about Cecilia Jimenez was the woman who tried to do that restoration in the Spanish town.
The one who claimed she got the priest or whoever's permission. It was like, oh, yeah, go for it. And then she just Mr. Beaned the whole thing.
Yeah, she also claims like it was only half finished. She had gone out of town when like it was.
I didn't know that part.
Oh yeah.
I'm not done yet. Okay.
Yeah. She was like, oh, everybody's being so rude about my art. But apparently, the restoration caused a huge tourism boom in this town, and like. Kind of, how all those articles about like all these little Spanish and Italian and like Mediterranean towns that are just disappearing and like they only have. I mean, she brought it back from the brink
by making it into a meme.
Yeah. I mean, I would go out of my way to see that.
I mean, I feel like this is the thing, a correlation to be careful with. Because are we going to see a bunch of defaced medieval art?
Hopefully. No, that's bad.
That one wasn't medieval either.
No, it was, or it was like early 1900s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But maybe the amount of tourism it brings scales with how old the art that you've defaced is.
I mean,
or how old the art that you've tried to restore.
Yes.
By watching YouTube tutorials or something.
Yeah. I mean, I would be very curious to see if she had any artistic portfolio prior to the Bobo Jesus Christ.
I mean, maybe it's all a performance piece.
Hey.
Or she can retcon it into being a performance piece and,
Yeah, I don't think she needs to. She saved the town.
You saved the town.
Yeah. Put on the best damn art show this town's ever seen.
All she had to do was make Jesus look like a monkey.
Yeah. Those were a few updates from that episode. So I got a Justin Sun update.
Of course you do.
Of course I do. He was spotted at Trump's crypto ball because of course he was.
You want to explain what Crump's crypto ball?
Trump's crypto ball.
Trump's crypto ball was?
Well, honestly, I haven't followed it that closely because it just hurts my body to engage. Yeah. But I did read up on a few things beforehand, and this like crypto ball, to secure a seat, the mostly anonymous attendees had to be among the top 220 holders of the Trump coin.
Was 220 like the venue capacity? Or?
I'm guessing.
Okay, yeah.
With the average participant spending $1.8 million, according to the blockchain analytics firm Nansen.
Nothing wrong with that whatsoever.
Yeah, and I actually found out that that Justin Sun was there because the New York Times had a big piece that was like, who was at Trump's crypto ball? And the like lead image, I was like, is that Justin Sun?
That's
He's
fucking
right,
Justin Sun.
fucking
Yeah.
there. Yeah. Always popping his little head up. So yeah. Good for him, I guess. He remains in the shadows.
Yep. Nothing wrong with any of this whatsoever.
No. And I mean, one of the funniest things about this ball was like seeing people afterward post pictures of the food that just look awful. And like,
wait, what?
Oh my God. It was like a little hunk of beef.
McDonald's.
That like, well, honestly, I think they would have been better leaning in and doing something like that. Because look, we know that they're not paying for the food. However, I think as a host, you need to like treat your guests right. And that would be spending more than 10 a plate on.
I don't know. I feel like this fully fits with the approach of this entire group. Yeah,
grifted,
like
you at the grifter ball.
The people there. The people there. It's like the Chappelle Show sketch, the player haters ball, where everyone is just being so shitty to each other because they're all player haters. No, but the people there know why they're there.
Right.
The ball is just like let's get in the room and like rub our hands together maniacally.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a I don't know. It's a gesture more than anything.
But at that point, I literally serve McDonald's.
Oh,
like,
they all came having had.
Yeah.
I already ate a bunch of foie gras, whatever other cruel foods I could think of ahead of time.
Roasted root vegetables and cauliflower. This like sauce that was all kind of like separated already when you looked at the plate. These mashed potatoes that looked like they were literally boxed mashed potatoes. And look, I love boxed
They're
mashed potatoes.
liquidating all the FEMA food.
Yeah. They really are. Yeah. It really looked like that.
That's how you reduce government waste.
Yeah. Liquidate the FEMA supplies. It looked really bad. And yeah, having to pay that much. Oh gosh. They deserve every last horrible bite of whatever horrible steak that was.
There's like
horrible cut of meat.
Group of billionaires leaving. Okay, who's up for Taco Bell after this?
Pretty much. Yeah, I would. Yeah.
Corrections and omissions. What do you got?
Oh, commercial error. What was the episode we were talking about that Salesforce commercial, the AI one?
It was the Meta Ray-Ban one we were talking about. It was a Super Bowl ad, right?
Yeah. I had said it was Owen Wilson in that commercial for Salesforce when we were talking about how commercials just don't make sense anymore. It was actually Matthew McConaughey for Open Table. So,
and he got served shrimp in the rain because he didn't, or the restaurant didn't use Open Table's AI to say that Matthew McConaughey doesn't want to eat in the rain and doesn't want to eat shrimp.
Yeah.
It's like a Dr. Seuss story.
It's so stupid.
He doesn't like green eggs and ham.
Yeah.
You need
Anyway,
AI to tell you that.
It was entirely a lateral move, like confusing Matthew McConaughey for Owen Wilson and Salesforce for Open Table.
I mean, it's very flattering to Owen Wilson and a little less so to Matthew McConaughey.
I've decided like this last week I don't like him, but I think.
Which one?
Matthew McConaughey.
Oh, it's because of your airplane experience?
Partially.
Chris had to. We were on an old plane on our flight recently, and I was in the middle seat, and it was an old plane where the controls were like under where your elbow goes on the middle seat on both sides. So I had my elbows up there and I was controlling both Chris's TV by accident and the poor woman next to me's TV by accident.
We both kept turning off our TVs and then Simon would turn them back on with his elbows.
Accident. And you ended up watching without sound, partially because of me, but I think he kind of wanted it, was
oh yeah.
was Failure to Launch with Matthew McConaughey and Jessica Parker.
I got
Sarah Jessica Parker twice in a row.
I got so sick of seeing his stupid face. I was like, I don't like this guy.
Well, the only cure is to watch it with sound once.
Yeah.
That'll make it better.
So yeah, now me and this other lady have just this lifelong vendetta against Matthew McConaughey.
I didn't make her watch this
What
movie by
was she
accident.
watching?
She just wanted her TV off and I kept turning it on.
Yeah, and eventually she put like the in-flight like manual, the safety manual cards in front of her screen.
She could have just put it under my elbow and I wouldn't have hit the thing anymore.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, this was not
It's
on
not
you.
my fault.
This
It's
is
the
horrible
airplane.
design.
Yeah.
Awful.
Do you
Preconceived notions.
in our last episode, I actually go out of my way to make sure you hear a joke that I said because
What
you didn't.
joke?
I'm not going to do this again.
What is it?
No, it's not this one.
What'd you say?
I'm just saying that I stopped the show to make sure you heard a joke that I said. I'm not going to repeat it and
Yeah.
made sure you laughed at it. And I was going to cut it out. He said, don't cut it out.
Yeah.
So I want to say that here, Chris had a note for our next open studios where it said, make sure I get this joke in. And it was that you missed an opportunity for a joke in our, it was also in our Meta Ray-Ban episode.
Yeah.
About Steve Wynn, the Las Vegas casino magnate and art collector, and generally bad guy, sex pest, etc., put his elbow through a Picasso right before he sold it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and part of the issue was that, why am I explaining this joke
I
again?
don't know.
Is you want to bring your joke back.
Well, okay, here's the thing. I pretty much like wrote this in right after the episode was done, and I was probably a little tipsy. So I thought it was hilarious at the time. And now I'm like, why did I write preconceived notions in this document?
And so before we recorded today, I had to like dig up our transcript and be like,
Figure
what was
out
the big
why
deal?
I had even written this.
And it's because I had said that Steve Wynn was about to sell his Picasso to Stephen Cohen, another bad guy, owns a hedge fund, SEC Capital, insider, trader, etc. And
Alleged or convicted?
I think convicted.
Okay. Allegedly convicted insider trader.
No,
I
it's
think
like,
that should cover us if we.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the he pleaded guilty and to wire fraud, 4 counts of securities fraud, and to close the doors of SAC Capital to outside investors. Yeah. Anyway, there are a lot of bad Steves in that story, and so many that we got confused over why one was bad. You'd confuse Steve Cohen with Steve Wynn, who was selling Cohen the art.
Right.
And you entered into that story with...
I had preconceived notions.
Yep, there we go. There's the punchline.
So, anyway.
Well, now is a good time for us to end this so you can go laugh about that privately.
This has been Open Studios by Cold Crit.
Yep, thanks for listening on our super special episode.
Yeah.
We'll be back soon with a real episode.
We will.
And probably another one of these soon when we have more bullshit to talk about.
We will.
Bye.
All right, bye.